What's the most beautiful woman last year? What's her name on?
You mean sexy?
On American Idol. The
J-Lo?
J-Lo. Yeah. You know, tonight started the next version or the next series of American Idol. Does anybody watch American Idol?
Too busy working with secretary.
Well, anyway, American Idol starts tonight, and apparently J-Lo is back. I don't know, is that about right? And I had thought, well, gee, wouldn't it be interesting and wonderful for everyone to invite J-Lo to come tonight and talk about Sector Surfer? But I knew you guys would really be disappointed because she doesn't know anything about Sector Surfer. So instead you have me, you have me, right? Thank you. There is a new capability within Sector Surfer that we just found out about in December, let's say, since there were 4 announcements. And it's a wonderful capability. I have not tried it yet. Steve has gotten the closest here to trying it, or actually trying it.
I tried it some today.
Yes.
First time.
I did talk to a gentleman in Louisiana named Len. Hi, Len. It's Joe. Who has a very interesting strategy of strategies. But I asked him, does he have any individual stocks in it? In order to get an apples-to-apples comparison with Len's strategy of strategies and what I'm going to show to you tonight, I asked him, could he take out any individual stocks? So let's get an apples-to-apples comparison. So he agreed to do that. So Len, we'll look forward to your information. And I told him if he lived here in the San Jose area, I'd have him up here presenting at our next meeting. So anyway, this was created by Scott Jugs, not me. I just received it 2 nights ago, Monday evening, so I'm spending most of my time focusing on pulling out information, putting the charts together, so I cannot answer a lot of questions that you may have, but I want to share it anyway. This is the standard. We can go. Once again, it's for informational purposes only. Don't go out and put your money necessarily in this, although it sounds very interesting. It is now available. Like I said, it's created by Scott. There's a total of 15 strategies in this strategy of strategies. The annualized return is over 40%. I think it's 42.5%, if I remember correctly, over 3, 10, and 25 years. The Sharpe ratio is 1.27, which is very good compared to the S&P. The max drawdown is 21% compared to 55% for the S&P 500. A score of 164 and a safety score of 131, which are also excellent. Now, there are only, I'll show you in a minute, funds. There are ETFs, sector ETFs, and ultra ETFs that are used. There are no individual stocks in the strategy of strategies. Okay. Here's the chart. Look at these curves. I know, especially the men here, we all love to look at curves. They're going almost straight up, as you can see. The money in the account is basically divided among 3 different strategies. So you don't put all of your money into one strategy. Basically, it will be equally divided, either 33 1/3 among the 3, or you can determine what allocation you would like. Here's the information. Let me stand over here. The portfolio is 1.27, I just mentioned. 21% drawdown versus 55%. And look at these returns. For 25 years, 42.5, 43.2, and 46.7. Here's the information on the beta, alpha, and so forth. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Here's the Sector Samurai portfolio. That's what it's named, Sector Samurai portfolio. And you'll have access to this. In fact, you already do. The first part consists of all fidelity funds. As you can see, once again, it's spread into 3 different categories. We'll go through this in depth in just a second. The next are exchange traded funds, and we have ultra ETFs. And I put this only question mark because I noticed, I don't think they're all ultra. I haven't analyzed it yet, but I noticed triple Qs there. I don't, no,
XLE.
they're not all ultra.
Yeah, XLE's not.
Yeah. So I think this really is a mixture of ETFs with ultras. Okay. Let's take okay. As you can see in the funds, all fidelity funds, there are 36 funds listed, and they all roll up to the SOS Fidelity strategy. Okay? So they roll up, and this is strategy number 4. So that sums it here, the 36 funds. Okay, let's look at the center one. Next. There are 48 ETFs in these 4 strategies. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And they all roll up into strategy number 10. Okay, so we're looking at the 48. Now here, 48 ultra ETFs. And once again, I put the question mark because there are some in there that I don't think are ultra. So there's a mixture of ETFs and ultra in this one. So let's go to the next one. Now, this is, you're all familiar with this. It shows the detailed information. We also refer to this as the advanced options for, this is strategy number 1. I'm not going to show you all 14 or 15 of these because it's available for your analysis. But as you can see, what I did notice that some of the advanced options characteristics do vary or change. They're not all the same to my knowledge, but I have not spent a lot of time analyzing this in any detail. Okay, let's go to the next one. Thank you, Al. Now, the question is, some of you may not have received or may not have gotten the email I sent, but there are accesses available. The problem is it's only available for 2 weeks. I didn't get to talk to Scott in detail about why it's only available for 2 weeks, but this uses up most of the 30 that he has, and I'm sure, of course, he can come up with more. But anyway, we have a limited time frame to have access, so if you want to do any analysis, you want to check it out, you want to copy this or that, do it quick before the end of the month. Now, there are several steps I'm going to show you in a minute how to get access to this information. Current subscribers, you can get access tomorrow by going to the users group, and I'll give you details there. You have details in your email, but I'm going to show you real quick right now, so this evening or tomorrow, how to get access via investorshelp.net. First thing you go is go to investorshelp.net, and we're going to show you then how to get access. You click on Sector Server, and this will open up. Now, as you noticed just a few minutes ago, we only had 4 subtabs here. I added a 5th to make it easy for you guys to get to the strategy of strategies. So just click on that, it'll open these up, you click on that. Okay, let's go to the next one. You will come to this page, and all you need to do is to fill out this box down below where you're asking Joe for access. Let's go to the next one. On this page, down below here, tell us you want access. You just put in your name. You could be just your first name. You can make up a name. Prefer you just use your real name. And then your email address. After you fill this information in, just hit this submit button. And you should immediately, and I don't know why Glenn didn't, you should immediately get a page will come up and will give you the username and we'll give you the password. The next one. So, like I say, as soon as you get the username and password, go to SomeGrowth or SectorSurfer.com, either one, same, and just click on Log In and put the username and the password right there. And you'll immediately, let's go to the next one, and you'll get access to Sector Samurai. So it's very easy, no problems, only have 2 weeks. Next one. Now, some final thoughts. Like I said, I have not done an analysis of this. I'd like to do more work on it. The detailed options, the parameters, advanced options, they vary, but I don't know how much. So I think it would be helpful to have a matrix for all 14 of the strategies, so we can have each of the individual strategy option available to us, because I'd like to compare one to the other to see how much do they vary. The options are the options for each, or parameters. Another thing, should we calculate the non-optimized annualized percentages?
Definitely.
Exactly. See, I agree with Joe.
What do you mean by non-optimized?
Those are where we not rely strictly on what we see in the chart. Those are all optimized.
Curve-fitted data, essentially.
Yeah, yes. Whereas what we do, if we go through and manually look at each trade, sort of what Steve had mentioned just a little while ago, and see what the non-monetized annualized results are, because from our own experience, and we've talked about this at other groups, that the
step forward.
The step forward.
She talked about putting in walk forward and putting in an early born date
Right.
as opposed to a recent born date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To check it out. And I think we all agree that the annualized return will be less than the optimized.
Absolutely.
But it'd be interesting, is that a non-optimized return closer to 15%, 20%, 25% in lieu of 42 or 42.5. So I think there's some work that we as users would want to check out before you actually apply such a strategy. Now, it does use one free strategy and 14 paid strategies. So to make it work, once you no longer have free access, anyone want to guess how much it would cost to have access, to pay for 14?
50 for the first 5, and
840
then
bucks
75
a
for the
year.
next 10.
How much?
840 bucks.
No, it is not 840 bucks, but we do have a special. Instead of $840, to have one free and 14 paid strategies will cost $117.50. So it's a tremendous bargain compared to what you said. It's not $800. So it definitely makes sense if you have a decent sized account. And to get a 40% or a 20% return on whether it's $50,000 or $100,000, to me it's insignificant to pay, even though, you know, 117 bucks is a lot of money. Depends on the returns. Anybody have any other thoughts on this before we wrap it up?
And that's just that, is that $100 a month?
It's $117.50 a
Okay.
month. Right. I have some ideas that I want to discuss with Scott. Several people asked me if there's a service, or if there could be a service where they pay a fee and they don't do all the calculations. They get either a monthly or quarterly email saying, we're moving out of this, we're moving into that. In other words, what would you say, the busy sector surfer does not have the time does not have the interest or effort to do all the calculations, to track all of this. They want the bottom line answers. So maybe a monthly fee without having to do that, I know of several people already that talked to me about that, would be willing to do it. You just get your email and it said, we're using the SectorSamurai strategy, and based on that, this is what you do. You get into these three and you get out of those three. Steve.
Okay. An observation from my point of view, as somebody who likes to play around in the sandbox and do all that, I had access to the Strategy-Of-Strategies tool without doing what you just described. The signing in with an email and passwords apparently is to get access to the SectorSamurai portfolio.
Yes.
If I just simply went on the main page of Sector Surfer and selected, I think it's the second point up there, which gives you the PDF manual, and you go to the PDF manual and you go down to advanced options, and it describes how to do Strategy-Of-Strategies. Also, there's a thing called a portfolio of strategies.
Yes.
And I think if you're a Sector Surfer subscriber, you have access to all of that without any problem.
Yes.
I guess the issue here is 2 weeks of access to SectorSamurai,
That's
not
correct.
to
Yes.
Strategy-Of-Strategies or
Right.
portfolio of strategies.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure people knew if they wanted to do the kinds of things that I was doing, I don't think you have to go through the sign-up process if you're already a member of Sector Surfer.
Yeah, that's correct. If you want access after the 2-week period or whatever, then you'll need to create and pay for these strategies. However, the Sector Samurai
You're talking about access to SectorSamurai.
yes,
Okay.
yes. But you as a subscriber have access to go and build your own.
Okay.
Right. And if you don't have a premium strategy paid for, then there are things that you don't get, such as the alerts and so forth. But for those of you that are experienced and willing to put in the time and effort, you can do a lot of this, most of it on your own.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the question is I'm looking for, open to ideas or suggestions from people. First of all, does anyone feel it would be helpful to have a matrix of what are the advanced options, or what I call parameters, for the 14 individual strategies?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think it would be helpful. If you're interested in helping out, by that I mean I have no problem with coming up with a matrix. It's a matter of looking at the 14 individual advanced options on those and just filling it into a matrix, and then we can, as a group, compare and see what are the differences among the three. So if anybody wants to volunteer now to work with me, or if you want to send me an email, I would appreciate it. And likewise, on number 3, now Steve's got a lot of experience, maybe even Gary, I don't know, on calculating the walk forward, non-optimized results to see what we
Basically,
could do.
you click walk forward and put the earliest date you can imagine, and it updates it to whatever it thinks is the earliest it can do.
Right.
That's what you do.
Sounds good. And you send me an email?
Is that how to do it?
No, with your results.
Oh, I just volunteered, huh?
No, if you could, I don't want to twist your arm too much, especially when people throughout the world is going to see this. But anyway, that'd be great. Okay, next one. Any other questions or comments?
Question,
Done,
is
yes.
this the one where he wants you to rebalance each portfolio? There was one
Yes.
strategy.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you for bringing it up. This is rebalanced, and I quite honestly didn't get into the level of detail to know. Most of this is done on a quarterly basis, and I really don't know whether he rebalances quarterly or annually. And another variation would be for the non-fidelity funds, what would be the returns if the ETFs, ultra ETFs, are on a monthly basis? And perhaps they are. You know, it might be the auto update feature. I don't know, and once we look at the matrix, then we'll be able to see what we're talking about there. Maybe there's a higher return if on 2 of the 3 portfolios within Sector Samurai are updated monthly, and then the funds are updated quarterly due to fidelity limitations or requirements. Any other questions? Otherwise, we need to wrap up. I want to thank all of you for coming to our first Sector Surfer meeting here in 2014. I look forward to seeing you again, and any questions, just send them to me at sectorsurferjoe@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone. Hope you had a good time.